So between each video, there's actually been a good few weeks of development. Basically, I've just been useless with videoing and stuff. I've just been getting stuck in trying to get everything done so that when things are starting to actually self-sustain in a way, I can actually start doing some decent videos of like how we're doing things and everything like that. But then I'm kind of missing the journey of setting everything up. And like I said in my 2 videos ago, I either focus on the video and getting the content and then everything falls behind with like production wise or vice versa. So far, I've somewhat set up my microgreens room. This is where we are now. I got a few customers now too. I'm slowly growing in that aspect, getting better. One thing with microgreens is such a fast turnaround crop, you can learn pretty quick on how to grow things and how to do it properly. I've experimented with a few different ways of doing things and I'm getting there. So that's been set up. I've got a humidity control in here, climate control, as well as ventilation and everything like that. And then our vegetables outside are ready to start being harvested. For the most part, some aren't quite yet, but lots of our kale, celeries, radishes. I haven't checked the beets. Maybe the beets, I'm not sure. But they're all getting there, and hopefully in a week we'll start selling the tomatoes. Now the tomatoes, they've been fruiting really well, but those in New Zealand would know definitely, but somewhere around the world, maybe not. You may have seen it on your news, I don't know. I don't know if our current events make it that far. But we had a cyclone, and then we had a massive front come up the country and brought with it just massive thunderstorms and humidity, as well as a cyclone and a lot of water. Tomatoes don't like that. And I knew going into this part of the year, at least with my tomatoes, it was a gamble with doing them outdoors. It was an experiment to see how far I could push them. And if we didn't have these storms, they would have done really well. That's now prompted me to really push to get my hydroponics set up done, because I've sort of kept pushing that back to try and get everything else set up. But I need to get it done now, because obviously tomatoes during winter will do really well. Out of season crops. Not only are we doing tomatoes, but we'll do cucumbers and peppers. So in this video, we'll set up the lights. That way I can see the blueprint from above sort of thing. And then from there, we'll do the floor rig, get the floor ready. And then from there, we'll do the buckets and then the plumbing and then so on and so forth. There'll be a few videos, so stay tuned for that. What up, whānau? I'm Mitch. This is Dirt Rich Life. Let's get our hustle on. So what do we need to do to set up these lights? Well, that's actually a really good question. So I'm winging it as I go. We need to set up power supplies. So I need to run some more electrical line and 3 multi-sockets, not multi-socket, 3 double power outlets, because we'll be running 6 grow lights. Yesterday, I quickly set up these beams above me, and those are where we'll be hanging the lights from. And then from there, we can set up the controller. So all 6 lights will be run off one controller, and from that controller, I can do the light timing. It also has a soft on and soft off function to mimic somewhat of a sunrise and a sunset, because plants don't like instant light, instant dark, if that makes sense. So like when you're growing it at tent or anything, it's ideal to actually ramp your lights down leading up to a sleep phase, because plants actually sleep, and letting them slowly progress into that sleep phase is far more beneficial for their growth. So first, we'll hang these lights. Second, we will do the electrical. And then from there, we'll do the controller. Oh, climbing up the wrong side of the ladder. Oh. Now, light spacing. Light spacing means a lot. So, much like plant spacing, you're doing it indoors. So my lights, they have a 1200 by 1200 reach. No, 1200. Why have I gone mind blank? 1200 by 1200 spread. Thank you. 1200 by 1200 spread. I bet you people are screaming at the screen then. Meaning that to get the ideal spread between these lights, and you want a little bit of overlap so you don't have this little low area of your PPFB with the light for the plants. You want a 1200 by 1200 center. That being said, I'm doing 1200 by 1200 centers along the thing, but these are 800 apart, which will give me like a 400 crossover in the center here, which is where I'll grow the tomatoes so they can get a lot of light. I have already taken into consideration the skylights above me, so I don't have to run the lights at full blast the whole time, especially during summer. Over winter a little bit more so because this is south facing, we're in the southern hemisphere, our sun's over north during the winter. So we want, it's a cat. This should be the edge of my spread. I go 600 in, that's the center of our first light, which would mean, where do I need the hooks? I haven't actually checked that. I'll be back. Let me rest this like this. Just don't let go. Should probably be doing this on the ground. 600 center. So from each side of the 600, we want 535. 535. And a hook on each side. Okay. Wait. 535 is the center. Is the length. So it's half of 535. That's 250s, 500, 270, 530, 267.5. So we want 267.5 on each side. Why do I always do that's all of these things? Right. Now, and then our hangers. One. Bring it down. Where did I put that other one? Bum, bum, bum. Should just work. Alright, so we're going to run double plug here, double plug for those two, double plug for those two, and somewhere in between we'll run another double plug. So I'll be running 2 fans, extraction fans through a carbon filter, because the tomatoes and that will produce a lot of ethylene gas. And just over there is the wash area and everything like that. We've got the micros in there. We don't want to build up of ethylene gas, so we need to get it out. So there'll be that as well. There'll be another video setting up the extraction fans. But for now, we need to mount these brackets here and run our wires through. So obviously, ideally, you should really get an electrician when you're doing this type of work. But if you're going to do it by yourself, much like myself, you're too proud, always make sure that your relay or your fuse is capable of handling the load you're about to do. And the wires you are using to set up these plugs are capable of handling the load as well. Too small a wire won't handle the load, will start to heat up and potentially cause a fire. The relay that these plugs are running off is a 20 amp relay, and then the wires that go from the relay 2 where I've teed it into, they're ridiculously big, they're a pain in the ass. And then the ones I've used were a 2.5 mil wire, more than capable of handling the load that these lights will be using. That's the wiring done. Talking to the camera. Now we need to tidy up all the wiring and then set up the fans. Fans will be set up in another video, and set up the controller, but I can't set up right now because the J cable I have is just a little bit too short. I want to run it over and across that wall over there, so it's not right next to the plants and within reach of little hands when they go to walk past. But that's the lights. I haven't showed you yet. I'll show you in a second. Ta-da! Now this is running at 70%. I've used my little light meter before, and it's about 1000 ppf at this height away from the lights, sitting center. So there's plenty of light for these tomatoes and cucumbers we're gonna grow. It's gonna be awesome, they're gonna love it. It'll be just like the summer sun. One thing though, it's slightly in the redder temperature spectrum. Really good for flowering. Maybe not so much for veg, but we'll see how it goes. Might have to just add in some supplemental blue light. Next video for this, we'll do the ventilation. And in the video after that, we'll set up the buckets and the irrigation. Other than that, see you in the next one.